to another fantastic Serp Tech training on Wednesday. It is 3 p.m. Central Standard Time in Texas, our usual hour. Today we have myself, Jeremiah, and Jason on the call, and we're just going to go over some Q&A. We're going to just let you guys ask some questions, and we'll do our best to answer them accordingly. As most of you probably already know, Herc is on honeymoon this week. He's actually traveling. He's flying the friendly skies as we speak from Edmonton, Alberta, all the way down to sunny Cancun. Well, at least hope it's going to be sunny. Surely it will be sun. They are going to be down there for a couple of weeks. Herc will be online occasionally, so don't think that he's abandoning us for very long. Just a little bit here. Natalie had some other business to attend to this evening with one of her daughters, so she is not here today, but I'm sure she will be joining us again next week. So today we're only going to go about an hour to get through this. Any questions you guys have, go ahead and start popping them into the questions box now. If you know it's a specific question for myself or Jason or Jeremiah, please kind of preface that in the beginning of your question so that we know that who it is directed accordingly to. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I see some questions already rolling in, and guys, if you see something you want to address, hop right on it. How you doing, JW? How you doing, Jonathan? How you doing, George? Let me just read over some of these questions here and see what we can do.
Todd, do you mind if I answer this one by Kevin real quick?
Go for it.
Kevin asked, can Jeremiah clarify what schema he puts on YouTube video in his backlinking process? Yeah, so I apologize for any confusion that my last statement said. I don't put the schema code in the YouTube video. What I'll do is I'll take the base schema information. So, if I'm making a Serp Tech site and I'm using Supremacy, you have the different fields. What I'll do, is I'll put in the business name, the description, the URL, the hours of operation, the state, because most of the time I don't have an address, I just use state in my schema. So I'll put the state in the YouTube description, and then I'll put a link back to the site, and I'll also do my, I don't know if I said this, my hours of operation. So I put the base information that you would put into the schema on the site. I take that information, not the code, just the information itself, and I put that into the YouTube video description. And then the very last line is the URL that I put back to either the main Serp Tech homepage or the page of the build that I'm building that specific YouTube video for.
Jeremiah, do you have a specific example of that you could screen share and show us? Because it was a little, a visual on that would be great. Anything you can share?
Yeah, hold on.
That'd be great. JW asks, I built 50 Serp Tech sites. Some Serp Tech results on these sites show up as HTTPS and some do not. The ones with HTTPS go to a warning page, not the website. JW, my recommendation on that is to install an SSL certificate properly onto those sites. And in order to do that, there's various ways of doing it, lots and lots of different ways of doing it, some free ways, some paid ways. You'll probably need to ask your web host, but you do need to get that corrected. And what's happening there, I believe, is, gosh, it's a little bit strange indeed. Over the past several months, we've noticed that Google wants to index HTTPS first all the time. And also cPanel is starting to do some, I don't think they have it quite correct yet, and we've been onto them, not onto them, but we've been discussing this problem with them over the last couple of months, and there is a large bug report, perhaps not a bug report, but a rethinking report on what exactly it is they're doing it, because they are causing a lot of problems by doing this, by automatically installing HTTPS on some sites by default. So that is really something that you should take up with your web hosting provider and make sure that your site is available on HTTP or HTTPS. Now, with that being said, you also must be taking into account the local supremacy, the overlay technology. Okay, there's some rules there that you have to follow when you're overlaying regarding SSL, and there's lots of different, there's lots of tutorials on that in local supremacy, and it's been talked about quite a bit in the group. So search that up in the groups on exactly which one you specifically need, secure or non-secure. But if Google is showing, ranking your secure pages, and they're going to warnings or errors, you really need to get that resolved first, and then go from there.
Okay, I've got one here from George. George says, if you build a SerpTech site in various niches or verticals, does it really make sense to put the same name as the site owners into Schema? Would this mean a red flag to Google algorithm? What I would do is this. Search in Google fake name generator. That can provide you with the various details you need to kind of, well, attempt to spoof the search engines. What I would highly recommend, though, which is a big sort of trail, you know how you, when you configure a site on cPanel and you have to put in an email address, what you can do is just create a generic one for the domain, so support at whatever the domain is.com, and then redirect those emails to your primary, your primary email address, rather than having your primary email address on all your sites. Does that make sense? So yeah, the two things, fake name generator and redirect the emails to your primary email address. Okay, I've got another one here from Jonathan Marks, and he said he wants to build a national business. He bought a URL, he knows rank and rent. Should he only go by state, or how should he create a national site? Well, my first thing is, don't create a national site. What I would do is probably build probably 3 states at a time. What you don't want to do is get into the territory of proper mass, 52,000 URLs, 1 million tags. No, that's not the route. Maximum 3 states. Keep it tight, keep it focused, and just build out from there. I mean, think about it this way: a .pro domain. Not sure what the prices are at the moment, but the pennies really. So you're not talking many sort of domains to actually cover the whole of the US or Canada, wherever you are currently situated. So yeah, I wouldn't go for a national site, is what I'm saying. If I missed any, guys.
Doing good so far. Francis says he bought SerpTech, local supremacy, and keyword supremacy for good reasons. And can you spend 1 or 2 minutes show how relevant it would be for ranking a website? Well, or to enhance an e-com business. Well, Francis, first of all, keyword supremacy is a great tool to discover keywords that are have good volume and can make good money. And they give you all the metrics and a lot of suggestions, and you'll discover a lot of keywords that you never thought of before that fall in those 2 categories. That's keyword supremacy. SerpTech and local supremacy, that is basically how to build a lot of I want to say smaller sites, like Jason was just talking about there a minute ago, you know, more localish style keywords where they start ranking, and then you use local supremacy to push those visitors to, you know, what we call a money site. Now that could relate to an e-com business. You could take your e-com niche and discover all of the, you know, great keywords associated with that product and build a lot of Serp text sites based upon those keywords you can find in keyword supremacy. Build a good Serp text site, and then use local supremacy to overlay, which basically means you're forcing all of the visitors to your Serp text site onto your e-com platform, Shopify, whatever it may be. So hope that answers your question there. It'll work. It will work. Just put it into action. Cool.
Sorry, just to quickly add, if you are redirecting to, for example, an e-commerce platform, and if you are using referral or affiliate links, make sure you use the right overlay function in order to retain that cookie as well.
That's true. There's overlay and overlay plus, and one of those does not transfer your cookie. Now, if you own your own e-com website, like a Shopify store, then just send it straight across. You won't be using a referral link, unless you're doing it for tracking purposes. Anyway, go ahead, Jeremiah.
All right, so I pulled one up. Is there a way for you to share the screen?
I am. I'm making you presenter now. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Guys, if you can see my screen, please press 1. And Todd, if you can let me know if they're pressing 1, I don't want to open the questions box.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, so this is an example. Guys, I'm going to ask that you please do not type this in and click on my links, as I am currently in talks to sell or to rent this out with a client, and I don't want it to be skewed, but I do want to show you this so you can see what I'm saying. Just please, you know, respect that and don't go clicking on them. So this is one of my terms, braces, and the city is Casas Adobes, which is one of the largest cities in Arizona. This is my SerpTech site right here. Top 3 positions for the term braces city, which, as you guys know, is huge. And this is the YouTube video that I created. As you can see, it's ranked number 4, so I'm number 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the video. All right, I pulled it up here. So this is the, this is the description and how I do it. So I have 2 sites in this niche, and this one is Better Smile. So you'll see the keyword phrase that I'm targeting is first, dash, name of site, without the .com, just the name of the, you know, quote-unquote business. This is the description that I used in my schema data. Okay, so just a couple sentences. Then I say we are located in, and I repeat the city, comma, and the state. Hours of operation. These are the exact hours of operation that I have in my schema data on the site. Website, colon, and then I put the link. Don't just throw the link to your website in there. You know, delineate it by website, colon, for your hours. Do hours, colon, and then we are located in, you know, this doesn't make sense to have a colon. But this is how I structure my videos. And I've done this in 5 or 6 different niches now, highly competitive niches in very large cities. And using this setup has worked extremely well. So Todd, if you want to switch my screen off so I can look at the questions again, just to see if anybody's asking questions about this that I can answer.
Yes.
I don't know how to do that.
I'll do it. one thing about that, Jeremiah, is that are you undocking your questions pane panel?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, no one can see that but you, even when you're sharing screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's hidden from the audience.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, if you guys have questions.
That's awesome. That's a very, very good tip there. I've never tried that before. But yeah, you guys take note of that. Apparently, you're getting some more traction by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Very, very cool.
Oh, one last thing too is after I've created the video, uploaded it, and linked back to a specific page on the site or to the homepage, I'll go back into the SerpTech site, go back to the schema, and I will add the link to that YouTube video into the same as data in the schema markup.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so the site's linking back to the video as well.
Very, very cool. Okay, I have a question for everyone in the audience, because I'm not sure, but Jonathan asks, he's building a new website for European focus, and he wants to know, what do I think is best to use, a .eu or better to use a .com? Does anyone out there have tried this or experimented with that in the foreign markets?
Presenters or
yes, anyone who has a tip on that.
I've done foreign markets. I've literally just stuck with the rule of thumb. I've just gone with pros, .onlines, .reviews, and .trades, and have worked a treat, to be honest. I've seen no sort of disparity on whether, you know, it ranks better or not. It just ranks number one. Look, I'll tell you one thing. Look, if everybody tackles the UK, Australia, America in terms of sort of local search, yeah?
Yeah.
Once you get into the realms of foreign markets, it becomes easy pickings. It's unbelievable how easy it is to completely dominate a market. And like I said, I've done it with .pros, .reviews, .onlines, and .trades. So I haven't really been very specific in terms of the TLD, and it's worked wonders for me.
Okay. George says national in case of Europe, like DEFRIT and CH. Oh, you're saying country specific, George.
I think, George, you're probably overthinking it. The easiest way, grab a .pro, cost you whatever it does, you know, whatever it is, and just try it. You know, take you 10 minutes of your time, push out a slide, see what the results are, you know, and just compare the results.
I know that, for instance, like when we build a money site that's in a foreign market and it's a .com, what we like to do is typically a money site you would register in Google Webmaster Tools. You wouldn't want to put a bunch of SerpTech sites in your Webmaster Tools, but money sites are okay to do that. Just, you know, be aware of cross-contamination there a little bit. But, you know, if you have a .com in a foreign market, then you go into Google Webmaster Tools and then, you know, denote, or you go in there and add that little setting where it says what country you're specifically targeting. That way it would show up in that country's search engines more prevalently. But like Jason said, if you stay out of the, if you're not going after the English-speaking markets like UK, Canada, Australia, and those places, a lot of the other countries are pretty easy pickings. It's what I hear all the time. I'm yet to do that, but I hear that it works really well. I was just reading about a guy just this weekend, I believe, was just absolutely crushing the French market for local services and stuff in the French cities, and yeah, he's pulling in like 30-40 grand a month doing local SEO for France. All right, Dominique, you have a question. I don't understand what it's in reference to. That's with V2. I'm not sure who you're addressing on that one, so please be a little more clear.
I think she was addressing me on that one. Yes, I did use Project Supremacy V2 on the site that I just showcased, but I will be upgrading it to V3 here shortly. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah, you could use either one. I think you're referring to the schema.
Mm-hmm.
Either one.
Yeah.
V3 has more power, more options. A little bit easier to save schemas and push them out across multiple sites as opposed to doing them over and over and over again.
You're underselling it there. V3 is a beast, Todd.
Yeah, I know.
Completely different to V2.
Yeah, I hate to sound hypey, but yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Francis.
I've got one here from Jonathan again. He says, do you offer one-on-one coaching for building subtext sites? So I know Herc, Todd, Jeremiah and Natalie are putting together something to offer the community in terms of giving that one-to-one support. So if you just sit tight for a bit, I'm sure they'll be coming to you soon with the opportunity to get their sort of one-on-one coaching.
Yes, we are very, very close to putting the final touches on that very thing. So give us maybe a couple more weeks, and we'll have that ready.
Dominique, can you clarify a little bit more? You said, how tight do you keep keywords on your local builds? Can you clarify a little bit more on that question, please? I want to make sure I answer that correctly.
One from George. George said, so when you build various sites instead of one big site, do you use the same homepage template for the small sites? And would this fall under the myth of duplicate content? Yeah, so myself, I will tweak slightly, and I mean slightly. Don't forget, Serp supports spin tags, as well as 52 different languages as well. So yeah, so basically I will tweak, I will sometimes drop in a bit of spin tags, and then I'll just deploy the site again. One of the things I noticed you guys, from doing support anyway, obviously everyone targets the same sort of areas, but what you're missing out on a big piece of the puzzle. Now what you should also be doing, yes, target states, but you should drop down another level as well and target the counties within those states. Then push all that traffic to your money site. Does that make sense? So definitely don't leave out the counties. Do the counties as well as the states as well. Okay, guys. Cool.
All right. Dominique said, so how tight do you keep keywords? And she said to use 4 to 5 keywords or one main keyword in different forms. That for me depends on the build. I don't rely solely on Google Keyword Planner. What I'd like to do is, if I'm going into a niche, I'll usually type in the main keyword in my main city. I'll look at the first page, so the first, depending on what it pulls up, 9 to 10 websites, and I'll just read over their content and see what they're targeting. So, for instance, with braces, my main keyword obviously is braces. That's what most people are going to type in. However, after analyzing a lot of the sites, I noticed that many of the dentists who offer it have pages specifically for affordable braces, which will then lead into a page for financing, braces financing. So for that site, I did, my main keyword was braces. Tags, I did affordable braces, Braces financing, Braces discount city. Surprisingly, that one was being targeted heavily, Braces discount. Then I looked at who their demographics were and realized that they'd have to do braces differently for each age group. So I did braces for kids, braces for teens, and braces for seniors, because a lot of the times they'd have a page specifically for seniors where they would give a senior discount. So, and you know, here in the U.S., a lot of the times, a lot of companies will offer a quote-unquote seniors discount. So I knew that would be a good one to target. And then I looked at some of the keywords that were popping out to me on a lot of these sites were overbite and gap. So I did braces for overbite city, and I did braces for gap city. And that was how I structured my my tags, and those are the keywords that I went after. But I you know, analyze the first page of websites first to see what they're going after.
Cool. Thanks, Jeremiah.
Mm-hmm. And Dominic, please put a 1 in the chat box if that answered what you were asking.
So Rick was asking, I'll go ahead and we've been kind of chatting back and forth here on Rick's question, but he's talking more about, you know, we were talking about not build a site with 50 states, but Rick's asking about, you know, a smaller site like Australia with 6 states. And, you know, I have seen a lot of SerpTech builds with more than 1 state, and then all the cities in those states, and they can do well. Just know that nothing's ever guaranteed how these sites index and rank, although we know that it's pretty darn certain that it's going to work most of the time when built correctly. But there's always still that chance that, you know, something could go wrong and it doesn't work out. So, you know, the best suggestion would be really to build more sites and spread the risk out amongst many domains as opposed to just one. But I have seen it work both ways. I know Jason has built some that have done very well in more than 1 state. When I say more than 1, I mean 3 or 4. And they have worked well, although, you know, Jason is the master at it too. And, you know, just and the long-term answer would be, you know, build more sites. They're cheap. The .pros are cheap, a few bucks. And, you know, building a SerpTech site, once you have done it a few times, you know how quick and easy it is to build. And especially if you're building a site in the same niche, which typically uses the same keywords, just maybe a different state, that you know, exporting and then importing those builds into other sites makes it very, very fast to build another site. So I wanted to get that out there to all. And Francis, your question regarding, you know, basically how to get started and how to get the ball rolling and how to understand, you know, how this all works together. I think the best place to start would be in the SerpTech members area. There is, I'm not talking about the webinars in there, I'm talking about the first 6 or 7 videos that aren't quite that long. They're all between 5 and 10 minutes long, and they're kind of an overview on how SerpTech works. And that's typically the biggest hurdle for most, is just getting the SerpTech builds done correctly. And then once they're done correctly and then you see them ranking, you're going to want to push that traffic to a site that can make you money, or a site that you someone has allowed you to rent. And you do that by using local supremacy. And local supremacy is another piece of software that's used in the package that's pretty easy, really. in regards to the differences between local and SerpTech. Local is very easy to set up. And then that's really it. And all it does is overlay the SerpTech sites with the money site, and the traffic that clicks on the SerpTech links in the search engines are displayed the client site that you're taking money from, or your own lead gen site. Hold on, I got a cough.
Yes, Rick. Local Supremacy is a separate product from SerpTech.
Sorry, I had to get a drink. Rick, do you own SerpTech? And you don't have local? About 95% of all users have both. Very few, there were a few people that just wanted SerpTech by itself, and so we made that available. But most people have local as well. So maybe you should issue a support ticket, supremacy.freshdesk.com, and ask Alex over there what your login is to local, or if you even have it. He can look all that stuff up and let you know and get you right in. No problem there. George, does local use CDN service for overlays? We use a lot of, we do use Max CDN. Now, to what degree or exactly what is being pushed over that CDN, I'm not quite sure. Stephen would know, but Stephen's not here. But we do use CDN when it's appropriate, absolutely, which makes it faster. There is a bit of, I know for a fact there's a bit of some of the overlay technology that definitely uses CDN, and then there's some of it that does not. So we use it when we have to.
I've got one here from Kevin B. It says, can SerpTech pull in articles in a target foreign language? Or if not, does he use Google to translate them and import these? I'm trying to get this. Can SerpTech put articles in a target foreign language, or if not, can I manually use Google to translate and import these into a build? Okay. No, what you do is you pull. You use the C keyword. You use English, and then obviously you can pull your articles. Then you translate those articles into the language of your choice. From what I remember, it's 52 different languages we support currently. But yeah, is it good enough for Big G? Most definitely. Do yourself a foreign site. Come and tell us how you did. I guarantee you'll be absolutely amazed by how easy it is to crush the foreign markets. So yeah, it's definitely good enough for Big G. Okay, cool. I've got one from RR. It says, any tips or tricks for basic local landing pages? For me, I just look at what really converts well, and you know, replicate that. You know, ideally, what you want is to be pushing that traffic to a client site anyway. So, and obviously, you know, with local, you can change, you know, call to actions and also call tracking numbers and so forth. So what I would be doing is basically either lining up a decent affiliate offer or lining up a decent client and just pushing the traffic to that offer or that client rather than creating my own pages. The only time I would say you need to really think about or really think about conversions is if you are taken to a, say for example, it was an Amazon site. You can't take the traffic direct to Amazon. So what you need to do is to put in a buffer page, like you described, you know, a page that will convert, and then take them to Amazon. Does that make sense? So that's the only sort of time you should be really thinking about creating a page. Okay. Describe them. Maury says, it's a question for Jay, but he says, can you please describe how you come up with a two-line description that's seen on Google for search results on the page? Okay, so you know when at the bottom, you know, you do your title, you do the body where you do your short codes, and then you do your meta. Well, the meta part is where you can craft your own description, and within that meta you can put in readable, legible sentences which are, in a sense, good calls to action, but you can also use the short codes within that as well. So looking for a in whatever short code, do you know what I mean? That can really work. To be honest, I'm quite lazy as well in terms of meta. I literally just drop the tags in there because it works just the same. But I know a lot of people like to really craft their meta descriptions.
Let me address this one by Sherman real quick. That's okay.
Okay.
He said, Jeremiah, last Webby, you had shared getting better results installing an HTTPS on the server, leveraging Let's Encrypt for SSL. If the target client site is only HTTP, do you recommend installing HTTPS for the Serp text site, then using a plugin to force it to HTTP to accommodate overlaying an HTTP site? Yes. So for me, my base practice now that I'm doing on everything is I will install the SSL certificate, and I use Supremacy hosting, and doing it through Supremacy hosting is just ridiculously easy. So I don't know how it would be on other hosting servers, because all my Serp tech sites are with Supremacy hosting. But I issue the SSL. What I'll do is I'll then build the site, right? As soon as the Serp tech build is done, I will submit it for indexing. I will wait 2 to 3 days to let the site index as SSL first, or as HTTPS first. Then after a couple days have gone by, I use a plugin called Force HTTP, and that's what I'll use, and that forces all the URLs to go to their HTTP version, which will then allow you to, via local supremacy, overlay an HTTP site. So that's how I do that on each of my sites. And Sherman, if that answered your question, if you could put one in the chat box, just so I know. No problem.
Have we missed any questions, Jay? Nothing we have we?
I don't know, I'm trying to catch up right now, actually. I have to jump off for a minute.
Okay. Was this covered? Rick says, is local a separate product? Yes, it is. SerpTech is the page builder, and local is the overlay and monetization product.
Dominique asked, back to what I was saying earlier about spreading your sites around. Yes, if that would be subdomains or complete separate domains. Complete separate domains. Register a new domain, .pro, .online, something like that. I would not use subs because subs are connected to the root. If the root goes down, all your subs are going with it. Back when there weren't really super cheap domains, we would use subdomains a lot, and it would work. Don't get me wrong, it will work, but they can all go down together, and I've had it happen. What else? If anybody had a question that we missed or did not answer effectively, please retype it here at the bottom. For us, it's the bottom, so we can go over it again.
Oh, here's one by Maureen. Jeremiah, please describe how you come up with the 2-line description that's seen on the Google search results page so people will click on your link. What? Please describe how you come up with the 2-line description. You mean the meta description?
Yes.
I just leave that as the default SerpTech description. If you're using Project Supremacy, and in your members training area, they go over how to SerpTech. They go over how to set your titles and meta descriptions. I just do the basic training that they give, and I leave it as the default meta default title.
James says, sorry,
Yeah,
go on.
no, I was
You're
just about
You're going to tackle that one. Go on then, because he's the superstar. Go on.
Okay. So James said, thoughts on offering a free trial to clients? My thoughts are absolutely not. I used to do that, and the issue that I would run into time and time again is that once you give it to them for free, the perceived value of what you're offering them drops through the floor. And either they are not willing to pay to continue, or they will try and hard-ass you on the price. So I do not offer free trials at all. Oh yeah, James, they will definitely ask. Sorry, he replied with, I agree, I've just had a lot of people asking me. Yes, they will definitely ask. I was actually just in a meeting yesterday with a client who asked me to give him, to let him try it out for a month. And I'm like, no, absolutely not, because that's, the way I rebutted it was, well, that's a month worth of lost income on my end. If someone asked you to do the work, and I'm not going to say what industry he was in, but this particular response worked for him in his industry. I said, well, if somebody wanted to test out your work and see if they liked it for a month, and then let's say they decided that they didn't, you're out a month's worth of work. So would you be okay with somebody asking you for a month to try your service? He goes, no, absolutely not. Well, that's the same situation here. Goes, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't really think about it like that. You're right, sorry. And we continued on with negotiations. So sometimes you just need to rephrase and put it into their perspective, get them into thinking about your service through their eyes, if you will. Because the very people asking you for a free trial are the same people who would never, ever contemplate giving a free trial of their own services.
Francis says, what am I really lacking or missing if I don't use ST or LS? Missing out on some traffic, rankings. I'm not sure how to, use SerpTech to get rankings in the SERPs and use LS to push that traffic to a money site. There are other ways of ranking a site, I suppose. It takes longer, usually costs more. There's no better way to get a lot of sites, links, URLs on page one of the SERPs than SerpTech. I've used them all. I've built many myself, and nothing has ever compared to what SerpTech can do, ever. George says,
yep.
How much easier is it to rank a secure site compared to a non-secure site? I don't think there's any way to say without a shadow of a doubt, or answer that with 100% certainty. But what we do know is, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, that Google wants a secure web. Google wants everyone to have all their sites on secure socket layer, HTTPS. So they've announced this back last summer and said that they are going to search for your site as secured first and try and index that first before they move on to non-secure. So secure sites should rank better. I don't know that it's faster or easier, but I do know that secure socket layer now is a ranking factor, a little one, and it does help. Now again, don't run out and SSL all of your SerpTech sites unless you understand what your target site is, and make sure that local can overlay onto that.
Yeah, I'd also like to comment in two different ways on that. The first would be my personal experience. When I tell you guys what I see working, it's what I see working for me, for my sites, based off of tests that I've done. You got to test for yourself. For me personally, I've noticed that having an SSL certificate, so having my site as HTTPS, one, I notice it indexes faster, and two, I've noticed that I get a higher ranking. So, and I've done a split test, so same site, same name, same niche, same city, and in that split test, the HTTPS every single time in my tests ranked higher than the non-HTTPS site. And even now, I have one of the industries that I'm in, I have two sites targeting the exact same state, the exact same cities, exact same keywords, and the site that I have HTTPS on is in every single case ranked above the site that does not have the HTTPS. It's just HTTP. The second comment that I'd like to make on that is, if you are building SerpTech sites for any medical niche, you want your site to be HTTPS. There are laws here for doctors and sites, especially if they're going to be taking information over their sites, where their site needs to be secure for client information. So if I'm going to be building and that's here in the US, I don't know what it's like in the other countries, but here in the US. So if I'm going to be building a site that I'm going to be targeting in a medical niche, I will do HTTPS every time because I made a mistake. I didn't know about that, so I built several huge medical sites that ranked exceptionally well with SerpTech, and they were all HTTP. And every single doctor that I spoke with informed me that they needed their site to be HTTPS. So that's just a little nugget for anyone going after medical niches. Make sure if you're building a site, it's secured with an SSL certificate, because the doctors will 9 times out of 10 notice that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're building your own money sites, definitely start them out on secure. Definitely start them out, and then build your SerpTech sites out on secure as well. You can't always do that because sometimes you don't know what your client site is going to be. Don't always know that the customer, the client that rents your SerpTech sites will have a secure site. And then if they do decide to pay you and all your sites are secure, then you're going to have to find a way to get them onto secure as well. And it's not that hard, guys.
RR, you said, what submission tool do you use to rank with search engines? SerpTech has an indexation tool built in. So I just use the indexation tool built into SerpTech. No problem, Sherman.
Brian, if you change from HTTP to HTTPS, when you change from non-secure to secure, you'll also want to put in a little plugin that forces HTTPS redirect. I forgot the name of it exactly, but it's a very simple plugin. And so that way, anytime Google revisits your site, they will be redirected to the secure site, and they will pick up on that, and they will start displaying your HTTPS. Just make sure that you have that redirect. Let me show you an example. Let me. If you're looking at my screen right now, you'll see that I've got Supremacy hosted loaded up, but I have the HTTPS that says secure. So now if someone ever comes to my site with HTTP, you see I removed the S. I removed the S. So now I hit enter, and as it's loading, it will automatically redirect to the HTTPS. So I'm forcing all visitors to go to the secure URL. It's just a simple plugin.
Todd, while you're in there, can you jump to the knowledge base? JW asks, can you please create a video inside Supremacy Hosting step by step to show how to set up a site on HTTPS? If you go to the knowledge base, and I've seen a couple people ask these questions for both SerpTech and Supremacy Hosting. Guys, go to the training sections or look at the knowledge bases, because the majority of the requests that you're making for videos and stuff are already there.
Yeah, right here in the top, you click on knowledge base. There's a few videos here that yeah, we add.
And you'll see there's a video, or right there, adding domain with unique IP and SSL.
Yep. Okay.
I've got one from Bob. Before we start wrapping up, so Jason, you mentioned the importance of doing great keyword research. With that in mind, do you still typically build your SerpTech sites without any backlinks? The answer is yes, Bob. I still build without any additional backlinks. At the end of the day, I think in terms of your keyword research, you need to think outside the box. We've touched on a few ways on how to find the right keywords to be targeting. We've talked about how to kind of snipe your potential competitors' keywords using the Google Keyword Planner. But one of the things I will be kind kind of leveraging, I was talking to the guys before we jumped on, is I'm going to be using a lot more expired domains with metrics to build out my sites, just to give it that extra boost, especially if you are going into more competitive niches. So yeah, but primarily, no, I don't do any additional to main keyword and on page, but I will be using expired domains to give it a little bit more of a boost. Okay, cheers, Bob.
Question for you, Jeremiah, here on how long do you run the indexer?
So what I do is for the first month, I will set the indexer to every 5 days, and then the second month on, I set it to every 10 days.
Very good.
I have a question for the group, actually, or for the community. Obviously, we know the indexer works. You know, yeah, sorry, let me pick up that. Yeah, so we know the indexer works. Have you noticed any sort of boost lately in terms of how quickly your sites are indexing? Just a 1 if yes, just a 2 if no. Very quickly, let's get some feedback. 2, 1. Okay, well, very varied results. Okay, cool. Cool. I mean, for me, I don't use any external indexers other than what's in SerpTech. I find it does more than enough. I think what Jeremiah's kind of specified there in terms of how he utilizes the indexer, that works well. That works well and works well for me. Okay, cool. Okay, Todd, it's 10 past at the moment. 10 past.
Yes, it is. We need to wrap this up here. So any more last burning questions, go ahead and drop them in now. If not, oh, I was going to show you guys this screen right here. Market.lazaruscaller.com. This is a place where you might be able to find some good, cheap, expired domains. And I'm going to put this in your chat box now. So this was set up by a good friend of mine, Kurt, who actually developed the Lazarus Crawler, which was an expired domain finder. Really good software. I've used it extensively in the past. And anyway, he's basically crawled the entire world. And he has this marketplace. So they're really cheap too, you can see. You still have to pay the registration fee. The only thing this money right here is going to do is unlock it, and you still have to take that name and go and register it. So it's not just $3. It's whatever this is going to cost you to register at the end of the day, 10, 12 bucks, something like that. But you can sort by all these metrics and topics. So
that is an awesome resource. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. Yep.
Thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's a good place. They're good and cheap. I have another service that offers domains as well. We're just not this cheap, so I'm not going to recommend you use mine when you could just go here and this is kind of this launch pricing. These prices will probably go up over time, but yeah, check it out. And if you've been following in the SerpTech group for a little bit, I know Simba has posted some case studies of using some expired domains, and his results are through the roof. So yeah, I mean, I've used expireds for years, and they've never let me down. There's always, you know, naysayers, you know, and they start making you double think everything. But honestly, this works fine. Always has. All right. Any more questions here? Well, the metrics that recommend anything in the teens is okay. what you want to do is understand the correlation between what I do. To me, let me explain it to you. To me, domain authority just means there's a lot of links coming in. Domain authority comes from Moz. Moz doesn't do a very good job of understanding the difference between spam and not spam. You could have this 33.2. You don't know if those are all spammed out links or not if you just look at domain authority. Now, if you come over here to citation flow and trust flow, you can see that's almost a 1-to-1 ratio. That's good. Anything over 2-to-1, you're probably looking at a spammy domain. Right here, DA 26, CF 25, trust flow 12. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. I would say no to that. On top of that, it's a .info. Probably was spammed out. 37 to 11, probably spammed out. 1-to-1 good, 1-to-1 good, 1-to-1 good, 1-to-1 good, 20 to 10, little on the high range, don't know about that one. DA's low, but that looks a little spammy, maybe not worth it. That one looks good right there, 23 DA, although it is a, what was that, Singapore? I don't know if I would do that. It's probably got a lot of foreign anchor text coming in. I wouldn't know. Don't think we can do, well, you can see he has another category over here with some spam checking too, so maybe take a look at this as well. But for me, I look at anything 1-to-1 good, anything over 2-to-1 ratio from citation to trust. Your citation flow is usually always going to be higher, and if it's 2-to-1, you're probably looking at a little bit of spam. You can see all of these are in the teens basically. So the age, let's see, where's the age at? Unfortunately, I don't think you can sort by age here. It's kind of a bummer. If you can sort by age or find the age, the older the domain, the better typically, as long as it's not spammed out. So yeah, so we'll go with that.
Okay, Todd, real quick. So there's a lot of questions coming in about the HTTP to HTTPS. Guys, let me get with Todd after the Webby, see about either doing a new training or maybe next week we might be able to do a live demonstration or something. So I am seeing all of your questions. Let me, Todd and I need to get together and just talk about how to best put something together to answer that. But I wanted to make sure we are seeing those questions you guys are asking.
Yep. Question here, if you can convert a site from HTTP to HTTPS, do you have to resubmit your XML sitemap to Google again? Wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt at all. You don't have to, but it would not hurt. Spam 100% worse? Yes. Yes, you don't want 100% spam links coming into a domain. Age 1 year older? No, I would say more like 3 and older. Sherman? I like 3 years and up on age.
3 years and up is my work as well. What I look for.
Yeah. And then a lot of people were like, well, it's not in the same niche over here, the topic and stuff, and you can get it in the same. I mean, trying to get the perfect domain out of here is a little bit difficult, but sometimes it can be had. It just depends on how sort of creative thinking you can get. Herc has a lot of good examples on how he takes old expired domains, and makes them relevant to money sites. We're talking more like a PBN here. I know it's kind of different because right now we're talking about taking an expired domain and turning it into a Serp tech site. But my point is that if you be a little bit creative with your content, you can be just fine. And then on the same side, I've taken many domains that were the topic was computer and programming and turned it into a health site, right? As long as the domain isn't something computer programming keyword specific. Okay. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go that far. The topic is what it is. You can sort of retrain the the search engine to understand what it's about. But if you have certain keywords in the URL, it becomes that much more difficult. So yeah, it's called retheming. You retheme a site. I have no problem with doing that. I've done it many times for years, and it's worked out just fine. My only thinking on that is I don't retheme a domain with keywords of another theme in the domain name. But, you know, for a couple of bucks, guys, there's nothing better than being able to test inexpensively and see what happens. Because, you know, I could tell you one thing and then you could do the complete opposite and it would work for you, you know, to some degree. So, and I've seen that happen a lot too, because I tend to do the opposite of what people say as well. It's like, really? And then see what happens. Sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong, but you'll never know until you try. And this is a very inexpensive way to get your questions answered. All right, guys. Looks like we're coming to the end here. We're about 15 minutes past the hour, and I do need to get going. I see my kids peeking in on me, asking me where I'm at. Yep. All right, well, thanks to you, Jeremiah. Thanks to you, Jason, for coming on and spending the last hour with us and answering all of these important burning questions. And thanks to all of you for coming on here and forcing us to think. Forcing us to get our brains rolling and answering your questions, because again, I'll say it again, I'll say it all the time, is that, you know, your questions are like gold to us, because it helps us understand where we need to improve, where we need to rethink, where we need to redesign to make it better for all of us. So I really do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us and asking questions. It really means a lot to us when we see a lot of people on here and interacting with you guys, and hopefully we are making a difference. All right, guys. Well, that is it for me. Signing off now, and we will catch all of you next week. And for those of you that are in the U.S. that will be traveling to family and friends this weekend, be safe and don't eat too much. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.